few days ago, I spent $15,060 on biohacking. Now, technically, I lied to you a little bit in the title because it was actually 2 different 4-hour sessions on 2 different days. But I could have decided to do it all in one day if I wanted to. But yes, I did spend $15,060 for 1 day of biohacking, and here is the invoice to prove it. Why did I actually do this? Well, reason number 1 is that I love being on the cutting edge and reinvesting the money that I make from my business into my health. I don't buy fancy cars, fancy clothes, or watches, but for my health, I actually genuinely enjoy spending ridiculous amounts of money, provided that there is a chance that it can do something amazing and provided that it's safe. When I do this, not only do I advance my health, but I also get to continually be a trailblazer for all of my clients. Also, reason number 2 is that I have injured tissues from years and years of wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I was a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor. No matter how much I heal, no matter how much biohacking I do, I can't seem to fix these injured areas behind my shoulder blades and my lower neck. Also, no matter how much stretching or massage or other treatments that I've done, chiropractic, etc., I really haven't been able to fully heal it. I've kind of been just inching my way towards improvements over the last 5 or 7 years. I've always had this intuition that I really need to go deeper into those tissues. I need stem cells, I need injections, I need things to regenerate those areas because they are so incredibly locked up with jiu-jitsu. So I did a lot of gi jiu-jitsu, and you grab onto lapels and grips and you clench down and compress with all your might. Okay, so it was so much gripping and grabbing while the person was ripping my hand off that it really just damaged the tissues. So what did I actually do for $15,060, right? So on day 1, I started with a methylene blue IV while actually bathing in an epic red light bed because methylene blue and red light go together. They're synergistic. And long story short, methylene blue enhances mitochondrial function, improves cellular energy production, and it acts as an antioxidant. So it removes inflammation, supports the brain, and again, stacks very well with red light. Directly after the methylene blue IV, I switched to an NAD IV and a super loaded nutrient vitamin mineral stack. Things like vitamin C, vitamin B, magnesium, selenium, and about 15 other vitamins and minerals. It felt pretty good, right? So NAD, if you don't know, it's gaining major traction. I'm sure you've heard of it, essentially for DNA repair and metabolism and reducing oxidative stress. And the IVs feel really great. To be honest with you, I actually prefer doing rectal NAD because you can do it in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to sit with an IV bag and an IV in your veins for an hour and a half. But nonetheless, while I was there, I wanted to go all in. And then after all of this, I was doing essentially a warm-up for what the next day was going to bring. So this was using a biocharger, which is this amazing $18,000 machine that I have since purchased, and I'll make another video on that, which is really cool. It's kind of like a Rife machine on steroids and just has so many different programs that you can use and helps you heal using frequencies. And in conjunction with that, I was getting peptides, okay? So normally you take a dose of peptides and you inject them subcutaneously, under your skin, in your belly. Typically, it'll take about 30 days to go through a vial. Well, we actually did an entire vial injected into my injury sites, basically 30 days worth of peptides, specifically BPC 157 and TB 500, which are for tissue repair, reduction in inflammation, healing muscles, healing tendons, etc. So I got these peptides injected directly into the injury sites, as you can see on the photo. And then the next day, okay, the grand finale, and what I paid the big bucks for is essentially to get VSELs. This is VSEL, okay, which I'll talk about in a moment. I got them injected into the injury sites and also injected into my veins, like an IV. And what are VSELs? Okay, well, the long answer, if you want to check out these scientific papers, I will put a link to these papers in the YouTube description. The short answer is that they are very small embryonic-like stem cells. Tiny stem cells found in adult tissues that are believed to have regenerative properties similar to embryonic stem cells. They normally reside in a dormant state, and then they can be activated with a laser for tissue repair and regeneration, which of course has anti-aging anti-aging and healing properties. There's still a lot of debates as far as the efficacy of these stem cells, but in my opinion, from all the research I've done, they are what I believe to be the safest stem cells you can do in America without having to worry about using other people's DNA. See, I do not want to inject other people's DNA into my body. Now, maybe into an injury site, but definitely not into my veins, because there's major issues with what that DNA can do to you, what the future holds if people who get these type of stem cells, if you can get cancer, and also what kind of viruses are in that blood, right? You really just don't know. For me, stem cells are the Wild West. I tend to stay away from all of the overseas companies, even though I'm sure they get amazing results sometimes. I'm gonna wait for more research to come out and for all of the bugs to be fixed, like what you do in the Apple iPhone, right? You wait until the bugs to get fixed. So I'm not ready to go all into that world yet. So basically, they take your blood, they take a decent amount of your blood, they spin it in a machine, and it turns it into plasma, right? Like PRP. And then they take a very calibrated laser and shoot it into the PRP, which basically activates these dormant stem cells. We injected the injury sites with these VSELs, and it was painful. It was kind of fun and interesting and painful, and it felt like a painful massage at the deepest level, like under your skin. And then I also did an IV with this, right, which is a pretty significant amount. There was about 4 or 5 vials that we injected back into my blood. After all of that, as if that wasn't enough, I also got a peptide IV, which was known as the time machine at this clinic, where we introduced 8 of the most powerful anti-aging peptides, okay? Epitalon, pineolon, Selenk, BPC 157, GHK copper, thymosin alpha 1, TB500, and LL37. Of course, you can Google or ChatGPT any of these to learn about them. Long story short, they all have regeneration properties for healing muscles, tendons, the brain, joints, ligaments, and whatnot. They all work synergistically to help enhance longevity, cellular repair, and overall vitality. And the big question is, how do I feel? I'm definitely going to answer that question, okay, but I'm also going to teach you something in the process of answering that question. Now, I do feel a slight increase in mood and energy, and I do feel like my sleep has been really deep the last 2 nights, and I feel like I have a little bit more reserves in the tank, especially after just having a baby and not sleeping well for the last 2 months. But nothing dramatic yet. Okay, and also it takes about 3 months for the stem cells to fully do their job. Side note, I also did a cheaper version of this treatment 2 years ago, and I definitely noticed an improvement in my neck and shoulder pain. I think I noticed also a general improvement in my mood and energy levels, maybe 5-7%, but it was nothing mind-blowing. But having said all of this, I want to share some very important info for you as you continue your healing journey. It's extremely rare for one thing to make a whole world of difference for you. Maybe it can for a day or a week or a month, but it's very rare for one thing to change the entire trajectory of your health. Yes, even spending $15,000 on one day, I actually didn't expect that it was going to do much of anything. And here's the magic. You're going to think that I'm crazy, but you never want to have expectations with any of these treatments. Expect nothing. Expect that you're wasting your money. Every time I do expensive treatments, I expect absolutely nothing. I'm never upset with the doctor, the practitioner, the organization. I'm never upset with anyone if I don't get results, because expectations are debilitating on this journey. You want to expect absolutely nothing, but pray for a miracle. You always want to pray for a miracle, but you can't grasp onto the result of each individual treatment that you buy. All along the way, I've always had an inner prayer, a prayer to God for my complete recovery and my wholeness and my wellness. I'm always holding that prayer, and I'm always in a state of what can be possible, but I'm never grasping or attaching to the outcome. These are two very, very different things. As soon as you grasp for the outcome, like I know people who have spent their last 20 grand on stem cells, and they're like, this is going to save my life. It's going to be everything. I have faith. And they spend the money and they get like a marginal benefit, and then they brag about how many different things they've done and not gotten results. Do not do this, okay? As soon as you're grasping at the result, you're no longer actually receiving the purest form of the medicine, okay? You're no longer connected to truth. You're just in a graspy part of yourself that is not whole. And because of this, you're just going to magnetize more of that. You don't actually receive the thing that you're doing. All of this is to say that the things that have changed my life are the things that I do in my own home on a daily basis, where you change the way you eat, how you think, the supplements you take, your habits, your sleep. All of this stuff is what changes your life on a day-to-day basis. I've said this before in some of my ads, right? Like, you can fix your broken body and your broken brain in the comfort of your own bathroom. Like things like enemas, deep detoxing, colonics, enzyme fasting, mucoid plaque fasting, liver cleansing, binders, rehydration, suppositories, all this stuff that I talk about on my YouTube channel, my courses. This is how I've changed my life. It's a day-to-day operation. There's no magic tricks. There's no magic pill. And another thing is that it is really hard to know what actually moved the needle when you're really all in for your health. It's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is that got you to your result. Even if I have an up-leveling in my health 3 months after these stem cells, it's still going to be hard for me to know exactly what they did, because I'm doing so many other things, because it's my life, it's my mission, it's my purpose. And honestly, I think everyone should be focusing on their health. Maybe not as ridiculous as me, but to an intense level. It's that important. Healing is like a spiral, okay? It's never linear. You never just get something and then it's like all of a sudden you did the thing and now you're here and you're there forever. It's a spiral. It goes left, it goes up, it goes right, it goes down. It's hard to understand. It's also a frequency thing. I remember about 3.5 years ago, I don't remember exactly, 3 years ago, something like that, I started hiring money and business coaches. It was like this insane spiral where I literally took myself from here to here in a 3-month period of time financially, but I didn't know what did it. I didn't know which coach it was. I didn't know exactly what happened. I couldn't pinpoint, yes, it was this action that led to my success. It was a mindset, a commitment, a devotion, a practice, and all of the things took me there. Like another example I have is, I have a client, Samuel Onuha, who I've worked with for over a year. He came to me in a really bad place, and he left us a testimonial, so he's fine if we talk about this.
Just has been life-changing, mainly all the knowledge you had and all the resources you shared with me. Unbelievable. Like, I didn't know anything about detox. Like, how I feel right now is like the best I've ever felt, but I know also going forward there's even more to improve, because detoxing and taking care of yourself is like a lifelong journey.
He came to us in a really, really bad place, like depression, anxiety, panic, and whatnot, even though he was crushing business. 3 months of coaching him, he would always tell me, I don't feel anything different. Like, Josh, I don't feel anything different. Supplements aren't working. I'm not feeling any different. I'm still tired. I'm still anxious. Around month 4, things started to shift. Month 5, month 6, all of a sudden, I watched his YouTube channel blow up, his income blow up, his mood change, and everything started getting better and better. And he was still saying like, hey, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything, right? But everything was changing around him. Everything was getting better. But there's this obsession, especially in a masculine mind, of like, we're just always looking at the horizon ahead, of like, we got to get to this level of perfection. And we forget how far we've come. And so I remember looking at him being like, dude, you have come light years in the last 6 months, but you don't see it. You're not able to see it. And then eventually, obviously he did, because now it's a 1.5 years later and he's a completely different human being and all of his symptoms are gone. But it's not like you don't know what's happening. It's so hard to understand exactly what's happening. So hard to not be attached to this perfect idyllic vision you have of yourself when it comes to healing. All of this is to say that it's really hard to know what things are doing, and it's on a level of frequency. It's not just, I take this supplement, how do I feel right now from taking it? It's like stepping stones, building blocks, frequency, changing your life slowly but surely, and then all of a sudden 6 months later, you're a different person. But it's very hard to keep track of, like, even when a baby, is growing so much, it's hard to know because you're with that child every day. But then someone else waits months to see the child and like, wow, they've gotten so big. It's the same kind of concept, right? So long story short, should you do this treatment? I don't know. I really don't know what to say. I personally think there's about 100 other things that you should do first for the majority of the population. If you have tons of money, yes, probably a good idea. Why not? The doctor was awesome. The clinic was awesome. I'm a huge fan of them. But honestly, and this is my own little quote here, not this first part, but the second part, they say abs are made in the kitchen. And I truly believe that broken brains are healed in the bathroom. I believe you can heal a broken brain in your bathroom. I don't believe you need stem cells. I don't believe you need a lot of the stuff that's out there. It's all amazing stuff, sometimes life-changing for people, and I am all about it, taking nothing away from this doctor or this clinic because they do awesome work, but you can heal your broken brain and your broken body in your bathroom and in your kitchen, okay? I really firmly believe that. All right, so leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the video. I am going to be doing a ton more YouTube videos. Stoked about this channel. See you in the next one.